I'm standing in the corner of our crowded living room during my younger brother's graduation dinner when my father suddenly erupts like a volcano that's been building pressure for years. The room is packed with relatives, neighbors, family, friends, all gathered to celebrate Segan's engineering degree, the golden child's latest triumph. I'm here because my mother begged me to come, said it would mean something to Segan, and promised there wouldn't be drama. She was wrong. My father's voice cuts through the laughter and conversation like a machete through sugarcane. You. He's pointing at me, his fingers shaking with rage, his face flushed with alcohol and whatever else has been building in him all evening. Get out. Get out and never come back. The room falls absolutely silent. 37 people all turning to stare at me, their expressions ranging from shock to curiosity to schadenfreude. Because everyone loves watching family drama when it's not their own. I'm Ayodele Adebayo, 32 years old, the oldest son who never quite measured up. Not as successful as Segan the engineer. Not as charming as my middle brother who lives abroad. Just Ayodele, working some vague job nobody really understands, driving a modest car, living in what my father loudly calls that shoebox apartment for failures. This isn't the first time he's humiliated me publicly. But the intensity tonight is different, sharper, more vicious, more final. Shame burns through me like acid. I can feel my face heating up, my hands wanting to shake, my voice wanting to defend, explain, beg. But I've learned something over 32 years of being the disappointment. Reaction feeds the fire. So I keep my face calm, neutral, revealing nothing of the hurt churning in my chest. I straighten my shoulders, grab my jacket from the chair, and walk toward the door with measured steps. Typical. I hear my father mutter loudly behind me. Can't even defend himself. Useless. A few people laugh, nervous, uncomfortable laughs, but laughs nonetheless. I don't turn around. Don't give them the satisfaction. I walk out into the warm Lagos night, close the door gently behind me, and stand on the porch for a moment, breathing deeply. Then I whisper to myself, so quietly only I can hear. All right, I'll go home. But I don't head to my shoebox apartment. I get in my modest Toyota, the car I drive specifically because it doesn't attract attention, and point it toward Murtala Muhammad International Airport. The private shuttle driver at the airport's executive terminal greets me with a warm smile and a slight bow. Welcome back, Mr. Ayodele. Good to see you again, sir. He takes my single bag, I always keep clothes at both places, and guides me to the waiting Range Rover. Not my Range Rover, because I don't own it. The estate owns it. The $22 million Santa Fe estate that's been mine for 3 years, the one nobody in my family knows exists. The drive takes 40 minutes, winding through increasingly exclusive neighborhoods until we reach gates that look like they belong to a presidential compound. Security waves us through. They know my face, my car, my schedule. The driveway curves through manicured gardens, past a fountain that cost more than my father's house, and finally to the main residence. A sprawling Mediterranean-style mansion with cream walls, terracotta roof tiles, and more windows than I've ever counted. Staff are lined up at the entrance. Maria the head housekeeper, Johnson the estate manager, Emmanuel the chef, and 3 others whose names I know but whose roles still sometimes blur together. Good evening, Mr. Ayodele, Maria says warmly. We prepared your usual room. Chef has dinner ready whenever you'd like it. I thank them, send them off to their duties, and finally stand alone in the marble foyer of a house that should make me happy, but mostly just makes me feel complicated. 3 years ago, I was working as a rideshare driver, barely making rent, trying to figure out what direction my life should take. One night, I picked up an elderly man from a hospital, Mr. Emmanuel Okafor, though I didn't know his name then. He was frail, clearly unwell, struggling with his bags. I helped him to his car, made sure he was comfortable, asked if he needed anything. We talked during the 40-minute drive to his estate. He asked about my life, my dreams, my family. I was honest, maybe too honest, telling this stranger about my father's disappointment, my struggle to find purpose, my feeling of never quite being enough. When we arrived at his house, this house, he asked me to help him inside. Then he asked if I'd visit again, just to talk, because he was lonely and I was refreshingly genuine. I did visit. Once a week at first, then twice, then whenever he called. I read to him when his eyes got weak. I organized his medications when his memory started slipping. I listened to his stories about building his fortune in oil and real estate. I didn't want anything from him. I just liked him, this lonely billionaire whose family had abandoned him to die alone. When he died, his lawyer called me to his office and handed me documents that changed my life. Mr. Okafor had left me everything. The estate, the investments, the properties scattered across 3 continents. 22 million in real estate alone, plus another 18 million in liquid assets. All of it left to Ideal Adebayo, the only person who treated me like a human being instead of a bank account in my final years. But there was one condition, written in Mr. Okafor's own shaky handwriting in a sealed letter. Tell no one until you're ready. Wealth reveals truth. Give yourself time to see people's real faces before they know you have money. You'll thank me for this. So I kept it secret, kept driving my modest car, kept living in my small apartment, though I barely spent time there anymore. Kept being the family disappointment while sitting on a fortune that dwarfed anything my father or brothers had achieved. And tonight, standing in the foyer of my mansion after being publicly humiliated again, I finally understand why Mr. Okafor gave me that condition. He wanted me to see exactly who my family was before money complicated everything. That night, I'm in the study, a room lined with books Mr. Okafor collected over decades, when my phone rings with a number I haven't seen in almost 2 years. My mother. We're not estranged exactly, but we're not close. She left my father when I was 19, couldn't take his abuse anymore, and in my father's narrative, that made her a traitor. Supporting her meant betraying him, so I'd learned to keep contact minimal and secret. Ideal. Her voice is urgent, frightened. I need to warn you about something. My stomach tightens. What's wrong? She's quiet for a moment, like she's checking if anyone can hear her. Your father is planning something. I don't know what exactly, but I overheard him on the phone with your uncle. He's convinced you've been hiding money from the family. He said something about Santa Fe. Ideal, be careful. Santa Fe. My blood runs cold. How does he know about Santa Fe? I demand. I don't know, she says, her voice small and scared. But he wants something that belongs to you. He's always wanted to control you, to own you. If he thinks you have money. She doesn't finish the sentence. She doesn't need to. I know my father well enough to fill in the blanks. After we hang up, I sit in the study trying to figure out how information leaked. I've been so careful. The estate is held in a trust under a corporate name. I use different addresses for different purposes. I've told no one, not friends, not colleagues, certainly not family. But somehow, my father knows about Santa Fe. And if he knows, he'll come. He'll demand. He'll try to take what he's convinced himself he deserves. I'm still processing this when I notice something I've never seen before. A small envelope tucked behind a picture frame on Mr. Okafor's desk. It's sealed with red wax, old-fashioned and deliberate. My name is written across the front in Mr. Okafor's handwriting. I open it with trembling fingers and find a USB drive inside with a note. If you're looking for this, something has gone wrong. Listen carefully. I plug the drive into the computer. A video file opens, Mr. Okafor's face, recorded in this very study, maybe weeks before he died. He looks tired, haunted. Ideal. His voice is weak but urgent. If you're hearing this, then you're facing the same danger I tried to protect you from. Don't trust. The video cuts out abruptly. Corrupted file, the computer says. I try to restore it, to recover more, but it's gone. Just that cryptic warning, and nothing else. Don't trust who? Don't trust what? My mind races through possibilities. My father? My brothers? Someone from Mr. Okafor's own past? The incomplete warning is somehow more terrifying than a complete one, leaving my imagination to fill in blanks with increasingly dark possibilities. The next morning, my best friend Teo arrives at the estate unannounced. We've been friends since university, and he's one of maybe 3 people I trust completely. He looks agitated when Johnson shows him into the breakfast room where I'm having coffee. Bro, he says without preamble, your father has been calling everyone we know. Old classmates, former colleagues, even people from our university days. He's asking if you've been hiding money, if anyone knows about property you own, if you've come into an inheritance. My stomach drops. He's fishing, I say quietly, trying to confirm what he suspects. Teo nods grimly. And it's working. People are talking. Someone told him you've been seen at the airport a lot. Someone else said you dress differently when you think no one from the neighborhood will see you. Ideal. I think someone close told him something specific. This isn't just random suspicion. Hours later, my phone buzzes with a text from my younger brother Deo. The middle child, the one who's always been caught between me and Segan, between loyalty and ambition. We need to talk. It's about the house. Please call me. It's urgent. I stare at the message for a long time before calling him back. What do you know about the house, Deo? His voice is shaking when he answers. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Ideal. I hacked your email a few weeks ago. I was curious. I wanted to understand why you seemed so calm about everything when Dad treats you like shit. And I found messages from the estate manager, from lawyers, from property managers mentioning Santa Fe. And his voice breaks. I panicked. I thought you were hiding money that belonged to the family. So I told Dad. The betrayal hits me like a physical blow. My own brother. Why? Is all I can manage. I don't know, Deo sobs. I was jealous. I was confused. I don't know what I thought. But Ideal, Dad is coming there. He's on his way to Santa Fe right now with Uncle Femi and some others. He's convinced himself you stole family money or something. You need to get out of there. I hang up without responding, my mind racing. My father is coming. With witnesses, with family members who'll back up whatever story he spins. Coming to confront me, to demand explanations, to try to take what he's decided belongs to him. And I have maybe 2 hours to prepare. I head to Mr. Okafor's study with new urgency, searching for anything he might have left that explains his cryptic warning. If my father is coming, I need to understand what I'm facing. Behind a false panel in the bookshelf, a panel I discovered months ago but never fully explored, is a safe. I'd never tried to open it before, respecting Mr. Okafor's privacy, even in death. But now I enter the combination his lawyer gave me, and the heavy door swings open. Inside are stacks of documents, letters, and files organized with meticulous care. And there, on top, is an envelope addressed simply to Ideal. I open it with shaking hands and find a letter that makes my chest tighten. Dear Ideal, if you're reading this, something has forced you to look deeper into my past and your own present. There's something you need to know about your father. 25 years ago, he worked for one of my companies. He was caught embezzling, not a huge amount, but enough for criminal charges. I should have reported him. But he begged, said he had a young family, said he'd made a mistake. So I forgave him, paid back the money myself, and let him resign quietly. Years later, when you started driving for that rideshare service, I recognized your name. I took your ride deliberately to see what kind of man the son had become. And I found someone with more integrity in one conversation than your father had in 10 years of employment. That's why I left you everything, Ideal. Not because I pitied you, but because I saw in you what your father could have been if he'd chosen honor over greed. The letter continues, explaining how my father tried to access my scholarship money years ago, how Mr. Okafor had quietly intervened to stop it, how my father has a pattern of trying to control and take from others. And finally, the warning. Your father will eventually learn about this inheritance. When he does, he will try to claim it was meant for him, that I owed him something, that you stole what was his. Don't let him rewrite history. The sealed report I filed with the corporate authorities about his embezzlement is in this safe. Use it if you need to. I find the report, a detailed account of my father's theft, with evidence, witness statements, and Mr. Okafor's formal decision not to prosecute. But there's a note attached. Should Ideal Adebayo ever face legal challenge from his family regarding this inheritance, this report may be reopened and reconsidered for prosecution. It's insurance. Protection. Mr. Okafor's final gift to keep me safe from my own family. There's one more envelope in the safe, addressed to my mother. I debate opening it. It's not meant for me, but given everything, I need to know. Inside is a letter dated 30 years ago. Dear Folake, I'm glad you found the courage to leave him. You and your son deserve better than his abuse. I've arranged for the educational fund we discussed. Ideal will receive scholarships and support through various channels that can't be traced back to me. When he's ready, when he's strong enough, perhaps I'll tell him the truth. But for now, just know that I'm keeping watch. Emmanuel. I call my mother immediately. Did you know Mr. Okafor? The question hangs in the air for a long moment. Yes, she finally admits. I worked for his company years ago, before you were born, when I finally left your father. When his abuse got so bad I couldn't stay, Mr. Okafor helped me. He gave me a reference for a new job, helped with legal fees for the separation, and promised to watch over you. I didn't know he'd left you an inheritance, Ideal. But I'm not surprised. He always believed in you. Before I can process this revelation, my phone rings. Estate security. Sir, your father is at the gate with several other individuals. He's demanding to see you. He's quite agitated. I take a deep breath, feeling something settle in my chest. Not fear, but resolution. Let them in. My father storms into the estate's grand entrance hall like an invading general, his face flushed with righteous fury. Uncle Femi and two cousins trail behind him, looking around at the obvious wealth with expressions mixing shock and greed. "You liar," my father roars, his voice echoing off marble walls. "You stole what belongs to this family. You took what was mine, money that should have supported all of us, and you've been living like a king while pretending to be poor." I stand calmly in the center of the hall, my lawyer, who I'd called an hour ago, standing slightly behind me with a briefcase full of documents. "This was never yours," I say quietly. "This estate was left to me by Emmanuel Okafor. Legally, properly, documented in a will that was filed 3 years ago. You have no claim to any of it." My father laughs, but it's ugly desperate. "Emmanuel Okafor? The man I worked for? He owed me. I helped build his fortune in those early years. This money is family money, earned by my work, and you've stolen it." He's yelling now, spittle flying, his whole body shaking with rage. "You're a thief. A liar. You've been deceiving your own family." I pull out the first document, the will, notarized and filed, leaving everything to me, specifically and explicitly excluding any claims from family members. My father barely glances at it. "This is fake. He was senile. You manipulated a dying man." More documents. My lawyer's verification of Mr. Okafor's mental competence, statements from his doctors, witness testimonies from the will signing. My father's face pales slightly, but his rage doesn't diminish. "Why you?" he demands, his voice cracking. "Why would he give you everything? What lies did you tell him? What did you do to trick him?" And this is when I decide to tell him the truth. All of it. Because 25 years ago, you embezzled from his company. You stole money, and he caught you. He should have sent you to prison, but he showed you mercy. He forgave you, protected your reputation, let you go quietly. And years later, he met me, your son, and found someone with the integrity you never had. The room goes absolutely silent. Uncle Femi stares at my father with shock. The cousins exchange glances. My father's face cycles through denial, rage, fear. "That's a lie," he whispers, but his voice lacks conviction. He's lying. My lawyer steps forward with another document. "This is the sealed corporate report Mr. Okafor filed about your embezzlement. It contains evidence, witness statements, and documentation of the theft. Mr. Okafor chose not to pursue prosecution at the time. However," he pauses for effect, "given recent circumstances and your claims to this estate, the corporate authorities have been notified and are reconsidering the case." My father's bravado collapses like a house of cards. His face goes from flushed red to sickly pale. "You can't," he stammers. "The statute of limitations, it's been too long." My lawyer smiles coldly. "For standard embezzlement, perhaps. But fraud and falsification of documents? Those have longer windows. And your attempt to fraudulently claim this inheritance has reopened interest in your past crimes." Deo bursts through the door at this moment, his face streaked with tears. "I'm sorry," he's sobbing. "Ideal, I'm so sorry. I never meant. I didn't know. Dad, you said you just wanted to talk to him, to understand. You didn't tell me you were going to accuse him of stealing." He's breaking down completely, the weight of his betrayal and the family's dysfunction crushing him. "I just wanted us to be a normal family." Uncle Femi is staring at my father like he's seeing him for the first time. "You embezzled? You stole money and let the family think you were successful through honest work." His voice is disgusted. "And now you're trying to steal from your own son?" The cousins are backing away, literally distancing themselves from my father's collapsing reputation. The room erupts into shouting. Uncle Femi yelling at my father trying to deflect and deny, Deo sobbing, the cousins arguing with each other about whether they should have known, should have questioned. And I just stand there, calm in the center of the chaos, watching the truth destroy them the way their lies have been destroying me for years. My lawyer presents the final documents. No trespass orders for my father, Uncle Femi, and the cousins. Legal notices that any further harassment or attempts to claim my property will result in immediate prosecution. "You have 5 minutes to leave this estate," my lawyer says formally. "If you return without invitation, you will be arrested for trespassing." My father looks at me with something between hatred and desperation. "You're choosing a dead stranger's money over your own family," he spits. "You're destroying your father, your family, everything." I meet his gaze steadily. Family doesn't try to steal from me. Family doesn't publicly humiliate me. Family doesn't spend 32 years making me feel worthless. You destroyed this relationship long before money entered the equation. I'm just finally strong enough to see it. Security escorts my father, uncle, and cousins out. Their protests fade as they're led down the long driveway. But Deo stays, refusing to leave, sitting on the floor of the entrance hall with his head in his hands. I ruined everything, he whispers. I betrayed you because I was jealous. Because Dad always compared me to you and Segan, and I never felt good enough. And I thought if I proved you were deceiving us, maybe I'd finally matter to him. I sit down beside him on the cold marble floor. Deo, you will always matter to me. But you need to decide who you want to be. Do you want to be like Dad, resentful, controlling, willing to destroy others to feel powerful? Or do you want to be better? He looks up at me with red-rimmed eyes. I want to be better. I want to change. Please, Ideal. Please give me a chance. I give him one condition. Earn it. Prove through actions, not words, that you can be trusted. Stay away from Dad's influence. Build your own identity, your own integrity. He nods desperately, agreeing to anything. That evening, my mother arrives at the estate. I'd called her after the confrontation, told her everything. She walks through the entrance hall, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, she says, pulling me into a hug. I'm sorry I left you alone with him all those years. I thought leaving would protect you, but it just isolated you. I should have fought harder to take you with me. We sit in the study, and she tells me the full story of Mr. Okafor. How he'd seen her with bruises one day at work and quietly asked if she needed help. How he'd connected her with lawyers, helped her find a safe place to stay, given her references for better jobs. He never asked for anything in return, she says quietly. He just said that good people deserved to be protected from bad people. And when I told him about you, about how bright you were, how kind despite everything your father put you through, he promised to watch over you. She pulls out a letter from her purse. He sent me this a week before he died. He wanted me to give it to you someday, but I was afraid. Afraid it would complicate things, afraid you'd be angry I kept secrets. I open the letter with shaking hands. Ideal, by the time you read this, you'll know the truth about your inheritance and my connection to your mother. I want you to understand something. I didn't help you out of pity or obligation. I helped you because I saw in you the son I never had. I was a lonely man who built an empire, but forgot to build a life. You gave me companionship in my final years, asked nothing in return, treated me with dignity when I had none left to offer. This money isn't charity. It's gratitude. Live boldly. You're meant for more than the pain you came from. Emmanuel. I cry then, really cry, for the first time since Mr. Okafor died. For the father figure I found in a stranger. For the real father I never had. For the years wasted trying to earn love from someone incapable of giving it. 3 months after the confrontation, I'm hosting dinner at the estate. The guests are few but chosen. My mother, Deo, who's been working for the charitable foundation I established in Mr. Okafor's name and genuinely seems to be changing, and Teo, my best friend who never wavered. An investor approached me last week with an offer for just 10 acres of the estate's land, 18 million naira for less than a fifth of the property. I laughed when I heard the number, really laughed, the kind of genuine joy I haven't felt in years. The land my father tried to claim as family money is worth more than he'll earn in 10 lifetimes. But tonight, sitting around the dining table as Emmanuel serves food he's been preparing all afternoon, I realize the real wealth isn't in bank accounts or property values. It's in this. My mother finally looking relaxed and safe, her shoulders no longer hunched with tension. Deo telling a story about helping a scholarship recipient, his face lit with purpose instead of envy. Teo raising his glass in a toast, saying to Ideal, who stayed good despite every reason not to. No father at this table. No uncle with grasping hands. No cousins calculating what they think they deserve. Just peace. Just people who chose to be here, who chose me, who measure love in presence rather than demands. I stand up, my glass raised. Mr. Okafor told me that wealth reveals truth. He was right. This inheritance showed me exactly who my father was, and more importantly, who I never want to become. But it also showed me this. I gesture at the table, at the people gathered here. This is the family I choose. Not blood that demands, but people who show up. Not connections that drain, but relationships that sustain. Thank you for being my real family. My mother is crying happy tears. Deo grips my shoulder, a silent promise to keep earning the trust I'm rebuilding in him. Teo grins and says, "Sentimental bastard. But yeah, we love you too." Later, standing on the terrace overlooking gardens that still take my breath away, I think about that night of my brother's graduation dinner. My father's roar, "Get out and never come back." At the time, it felt like rejection, like being cast out from the only place I belonged. Now I understand it was liberation. He thought he was banishing me to nothing. Instead, he freed me to find everything. This estate, this peace, this chosen family, this life built on integrity instead of appearances. I didn't just go home that night. I came home, to the place and the people where I actually belong. The gates of the estate close behind my dinner guests as they leave, satisfied and loved. I walk back inside alone, but not lonely. The house is mine. The life is mine. The future is mine. And for the first time in 32 years, that's enough. More than enough. It's everything.